teachers, administrators, staff, parents, guardians, guests, students, and the graduating class of 2019. It is an honor to be standing in front of you during this momentous occasion, the last time we will all be here together under one roof. In May of my junior year, I found myself staring down my AP Lang exam, comprised of 3 essays, 4 reading passages, and over 40 multiple choice questions. Almost 3 hours in, I rarely read the prompt of my final essay, based on a quote by Anne Mara Lindbergh in her book, Gifts from the Sea, which states, "We tend not to choose the unknown, which might be a shock or a disappointment, or simply a little difficult to cope with. And yet it is the unknown, with all its disappointments and surprises, that is the most enriching." I was asked to give my position on the value of exploring the unknown, and whether or not it was something to be feared. My initial thought was, yes, of course it should be feared. Whether or not I was going to finish that essay was certainly unknown to me. But eventually I picked up my pen and I began to write. I wrote about Malala, the young woman who had the audacity to say that a girl's education was just as important as a boy's in the midst of the Taliban's raid, not knowing the power of her voice would result in a bullet through her head. Yet she and her message are still very much alive today. I wrote about the great migration of African Americans who built this nation, despite carrying the centuries-old weight of tyranny and oppression. A difficult path to the north followed shortly after emancipation, but those who did not stray away from the road ahead created a social and artistic movement celebrating America's diversity, and thus built the nation once again. I wrote about these significant people and events that are vastly known in our history classes, when I should have written about us. In the past 4 years, I have seen this class face inevitable challenges that come during this transformative period of our lives, yet continue to persist and explore the outside boundaries of familiarity. We have organized marches, volunteered, led our sports teams, performed on stage, joined ROTC, and have become the leaders we want to see for our world, all while surviving early mornings, exams, and the dreaded senior project. In our final months of high school, we have asked ourselves questions far more difficult to answer than those on any college or scholarship application. What does my future hold? Where will life take me next? Who will I become? The unknown is terrifying, and when the time comes when we have to face it, it is only natural to be afraid. We've become indoctrinated with this idea that failure marks us with shame we can never rid ourselves of. We've convinced ourselves that our shortcomings define who we are, not our accomplishments. It has become easy, almost expected, to submit to silence, too scared to question, and too scared to dare. It is this that hinders us from asking the questions imperative to becoming innovative change makers. What happens if we explore sustainable solutions to save our planet? What happens if we create immersive environments where students love to learn? What happens if we work towards racial equity, cross party lines, initiate scientific discoveries, empower women? What happens when the fear of failing is no longer a factor? What are we capable of then? When we think about the unknown, we tend to only think about the destination. We fantasize over graduation, our dream career, our wedding day, but rarely ever about the path with all the joy and all the pain we must endure to get there. Today, I am asking you to go out of your way to be uncomfortable. I hope you travel to countries you've only read about in books and speak languages to find a new way to communicate. When you meet people, embrace all of them. Explore their culture, find peace in their religion, appreciate our differences that define the intricacies of humanity. Mr. Clare taught me to approach each debate with doubt and civility, and I've tried to apply this advice to every aspect of my life when I am unsure. especially when I am scared. Miss Lewis told me to be the lion before every test, that confidence isn't just the key to success, but to self-expression and self-love. Mr. Harris had a quote on the board every day that, as cliche as they were, motivated me to become more than I was the day before. Before you leave today and officially say goodbye to Reynolds, please hug someone who helped you explore the unknown world of high school 4 years ago. Promise them that you will continue to seek out challenges, even when you fall, because recognizing your weaknesses and turning them into strength is the only way to authentically live. And when you finally depart, I hope you choose to dare. So the class of 2019, we made it.